Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear, when everything inside you feels shattered, when the spark that once drove you forward seems lost in the darkness. You look around and wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. You question your worth, your strength, your purpose. But let me tell you something. Feeling broken doesn't mean you're finished. Means you're human. Every one of us has been there. Every champion, every leader, every person who has ever risen to greatness has walked through the valley of pain, loss, and doubt. The difference isn't that they never broke, it's that they refused to stay broken. They used their pain as power, their wounds as wisdom, their heartbreak as fuel to rise again. Today, I want to remind you that your story isn't over just because it hurts right now. The cracks you see in yourself, those are not flaws. They're openings for light to get in. You were built to bend, not to break. And when you decide right here and now that your struggle will no longer define you but refine you, that's the moment your comeback begins. So if you've ever felt lost, defeated, or broken, this is for you. Because today we're not talking about surviving. We're talking about reclaiming your power, rebuilding your spirit, and rising stronger than ever before. This is your moment. Let's begin. Pain is one of life's most powerful teachers. It's the one experience that every single human being will face, no matter how strong, smart, or successful they are. Yet when it comes, most people resist it. They fight it, hide from it, numb it, or pretend it isn't there. But here's the truth. Pain isn't permanent. It's not your enemy. It's not a punishment. It's a portal. A doorway that leads you from who you were to who you're meant to become. When life breaks you open, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to awaken something inside you that could never come alive in comfort. The fire that refines gold is the same fire that purifies the human soul. Think about it. Every great story of transformation begins with pain. The person who found their purpose, the leader who rose from failure, the artist who created something timeless, all of them walked through darkness first. The pain forced them to grow, to shed old beliefs, to face fears they had buried for years. And when they stopped asking, why me, and started asking, what is this trying to teach me, everything changed, because the moment you see pain not as a dead end, but as a message, it stops being suffering and starts being power. The truth is, pain introduces you to yourself. When everything falls apart, when you lose what you thought you couldn't live without, when people leave and dreams collapse, that's when you meet the real you, the version that isn't built on achievements, approval, or appearances. Pain strips away the noise, the masks, the illusions, until all that's left is raw truth. And that truth is where your power lies. You start realizing that no matter what happens, you're still here, still breathing, still capable of rebuilding. That awareness alone is freedom. But here's the key. Pain doesn't automatically turn into power. You have to decide that it will. You have to face it, feel it, and use it. Too many people get stuck in their pain because they never step through it. They replay the story. They cling to the hurt. They build an identity around what broke them. But power comes when you stop identifying with the wound and start identifying with the warrior. The pain you've experienced can either chain you or change you. The difference lies in your perspective. When you shift your focus from what's lost to what's possible, everything begins to move. Energy flows where attention goes. So instead of asking why it hurts, start asking how it can help you grow. Maybe that heartbreak is teaching you self-worth. Maybe that failure is showing you a new direction. Maybe that disappointment is guiding you back to your purpose. When you decide to find meaning in your pain, it no longer owns you. You own it. The most beautiful part, that the pain you overcome doesn't just transform you, it becomes your gift to others. People who are hurting will look at your story and see hope. They'll see that if you could rise again, so can they. And that's when pain fulfills its purpose. When it turns into contribution, when it connects you to others through empathy and strength, your scars become your credentials. They say, I've been there and I made it out. So the next time you feel broken, remember this pain is temporary, but who you become through it is eternal. You are not meant to escape it. You are meant to evolve through it. Let the fire burn away your fears, not your faith. Let it awaken the giant within you that's been waiting for this very moment to emerge. Because pain isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your rebirth. It's the portal that leads you straight into your power. There comes a moment in every person's life when the pressure feels unbearable, when it seems like everything is collapsing at once, when the weight of it all makes you question whether you can keep going. That moment, your breaking point, feels like the end. But what if it isn't? What if that exact moment, the one that feels like it's crushing you, is actually the doorway to your greatest transformation? The truth is, your breaking point can become your turning point, the defining moment when your entire story begins to shift. When everything is stripped away, when you have nothing left to lose, you also have nothing holding you back. Pain removes the unnecessary. It destroys the illusions you once clung to, forcing you to see what truly matters. That's why so many breakthroughs are born out of breakdowns. When you hit the bottom, you stop pretending. You stop trying to please everyone, stop living by other people's rules, and start asking yourself what's real. And in that raw, honest space, something powerful begins to awaken, the decision to change. People often think strength is about never breaking, but it's not. Strength is found in what you do after you break. It's in the decision to rise again, to rebuild with more wisdom, more clarity, more courage than before. Life will test you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. When everything feels like it's falling apart, it's often falling into place. You're being redirected towards something bigger, something more aligned with who you're meant to be. The breaking point is the universe's way of saying it's time to evolve. The turning point begins the moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to create in me? That shift in mindset is where power lives. Suddenly, the pain becomes a catalyst. You stop resisting the lesson and start using it. You realize that your circumstances don't define you. Your choices do. That's the exact moment when the energy shifts. You move from victim to creator, from hopeless to unstoppable. Many people reach their breaking point and give up, thinking they're finished. But the ones who rise, the ones who use the pain as fuel, they discover something extraordinary. They find a strength that was dormant inside them all along. You don't know how powerful you are until being strong is your only option. That's when the real version of you comes alive. That's when you stop existing and start truly living. The truth is, every turning point begins with a moment of surrender. Not giving up, but letting go. Letting go of the illusion of control, letting go of the past, letting go of what no longer serves your soul. When you release what's been weighing you down, you create space for what's meant to lift you up. The energy you once wasted resisting life becomes the same energy that propels you forward. That's the beauty of the breaking point. It cracks you open so the light can enter. Look back on your life. Think of the moments that hurt the most. Didn't they, in some strange way, lead you to something greater, a better version of yourself, a deeper understanding of life? That's not an accident. That's transformation in action. Pain pushes until vision pulls. Once you catch even a glimpse of who you could become, you realize the breaking wasn't a breakdown. It was a breakthrough. So when you feel like you've reached your limit, when you're on your knees and nothing seems to make sense, remember this moment isn't here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. This is the point where everything begins to shift. If you let it, the power to turn pain into purpose is already inside you. The question is, will you use this breaking point as your turning point? Because once you do, there's no going back, only forward, only stronger, only freer. When life hits hard and everything seems to crumble, the loudest voice you'll hear is often the one inside your own head. It's the voice that whispers, you're not enough. You failed. You'll never come back from this. And the more you listen, the more powerless you feel. But what if that voice isn't really you? What if it's just a reflection of your fears, your doubts, your past conditioning? The truth is, the moment you reclaim your inner voice, you reclaim your life. You are not your circumstances, and you are not the thoughts that arise from pain. You are the awareness behind them, the creator, not the creation. Too many people let their outer world dictate their inner world. When something goes wrong, a relationship ends, a dream falls apart, a loss feels unbearable, they let that event define who they are. They internalize the pain until it becomes identity. They say, I am broken, I am unworthy, I am a failure, but that's not the truth. Those are temporary experiences, not permanent realities. The problem is when you repeat those words long enough, they become a prison. You start living small because your mind convinces you that you're small. Reclaiming your inner voice means taking your power back from that lie. It means remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. The most powerful voice in your life should be your own, but not the one rooted in fear, the one anchored in truth. That voice says, I've been hurt, but I'm healing. It says, I've been through pain, but I'm still standing. It says, this is not the enemy. This is the beginning of something greater. When you start speaking to yourself with that kind of conviction, your energy shifts, your choices shift, your entire reality begins to shift because your life will always follow the direction of your dominant voice. If your inner dialogue is built on strength, faith, and purpose, then no external challenge can destroy you. Reclaiming your inner voice starts with awareness. Notice the way you talk to yourself when things go wrong. Are you tearing yourself apart or building yourself back up? Every time you catch a negative thought, you have two choices: believe it or challenge it. The moment you challenge it, you begin to rewrite your story. You begin to stand up to the old programming that says you're not enough. You start saying, no, that's not who I am anymore. I am capable, I am worthy, I am becoming. And with repetition, those new beliefs begin to take root. They become your new foundation. Your circumstances don't define your worth. They reveal it. They show you what you're made of. When life tests you, it's giving you an opportunity to hear your true voice again. It's reminding you that strength doesn't come from things going right. It comes from rising when everything goes wrong. When you connect with that truth, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and start seeing yourself as the author of it. You realize that you can rewrite any chapter, no matter how painful the last one was. Sometimes the world will try to silence your inner power. People will project their fears onto you. They'll say you can't, you shouldn't, you won't. But the greatest act of rebellion is to listen to your own heart anyway. To say, I hear your doubt, but I choose my destiny. That's how leaders are born. That's how survivors become warriors. Your inner voice becomes your compass. It guides you through the storm and into your truth. So when everything around you feels broken, go within. That's where your real strength lies. Close your eyes, breathe, and remind yourself, I am not my pain. I am the one who will rise from it. Because once you reclaim your inner voice, no external noise can drown you. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You stop living in fear and start creating in faith. That's when your story changes. Not because life got easier, but because you remembered who you are. Every human being experiences pain. It's inevitable. But suffering is a choice. Pain is what life does to you. Suffering is what you do to yourself with that pain. The difference lies in what you decide to do with it. When you choose to transform your suffering into strength through purpose, you step into a power few ever discover. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, how can this serve me and others? That single shift turns wounds into wisdom and heartbreak into growth. Because the truth is, pain without purpose is just punishment, but pain with purpose becomes power. When something breaks inside you, you're standing at a crossroads. You can either let the pain consume you or you can decide to use it. People who rise above their circumstances aren't the ones who never suffered. They're the ones who turned their suffering into meaning. They made a decision that what hurt them wouldn't define them. It would refine them. They found a why strong enough to carry them through anyhow. And that's what transforms everything. Purpose gives pain direction. It gives it a reason to exist. It turns chaos into clarity and struggle into strength. Think of the most inspiring people in history. Every one of them faced suffering. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and came out not bitter, but better, using his pain to unite a nation. Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of the Holocaust, said that those who found meaning in their suffering were the ones who endured. He wrote, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That's the essence of transformation. When you can't control what happens around you, you take control of what happens within you. That's how pain becomes purpose. Your suffering can either close your heart or expand it. The difference is choice. When you choose to find meaning in what broke you, you stop asking life for comfort and start demanding growth. You begin to see that every wound is a teacher, every setback a lesson, every heartbreak a chance to love deeper. You realize that pain isn't there to weaken you. It's there to awaken you. It wakes you up to your strength, your resilience, your compassion. And once you awaken to that, you can never go back to who you were before. But here's the part most people miss. Transforming pain into purpose doesn't mean denying your emotions. It's not about pretending you're fine when you're not. It's about facing your suffering fully, feeling it, learning from it, and then using it as fuel. You have to go through it to grow from it. The fire that burns you can also forge you. The difference lies in how you step into it. When you accept your pain and ask, what is this teaching me? Who is this helping me become? You start turning breakdowns into breakthroughs. And when your pain finds purpose, it becomes a gift, not just for you, but for others. The wisdom you gain through your own struggle becomes light for someone else still walking in darkness. Maybe your story of survival inspires someone to keep going. Maybe your lessons help someone avoid the same mistakes. Maybe your courage gives someone hope. That's when you realize your pain was never wasted. It was preparing you to make a difference. So don't run from your suffering. Don't numb it or hide it. Sit with it, learn from it, and then rise with it. Let it fuel you to create something meaningful, a life, a message, a purpose that outlives the pain. Every scar on your soul is proof that you've lived, that you've fought, that you've grown. You can't control what hurts you, but you can control what you build from it. Let your suffering shape your strength, and let that strength serve something bigger than yourself. Because when your pain serves a purpose, it no longer hurts. It heals. No one heals in isolation. The energy around you is either building you or breaking you. Every person you keep close, every environment you spend time in, either fuels your growth or feeds your pain. When you're trying to rise from a place of brokenness, the kind of energy you surround yourself with becomes everything. You can't heal in the same place that hurts you, and you can't grow while surrounded by negativity that constantly reminds you of your wounds. To move forward, you must surround yourself with energy that heals, not hurts. People who remind you of your strength, not your scars. Healing is not just about self-reflection. It's also about connection. The human spirit is designed to grow through relationships, encouragement, and love. When life breaks you, it's easy to withdraw, to build walls and trust no one. But isolation breeds stagnation. The right people, those who lift you, listen to you, and believe in you, become medicine for the soul. Their energy gives you permission to feel safe, to hope again, to rebuild the parts of yourself you thought were lost. You begin to see that you don't have to carry the weight alone. There's power in being seen, in being understood, in being supported by those who genuinely want to see you win. Every interaction you have is an exchange of energy. When you leave someone's presence, you're either lighter or heavier. Pay attention to that. The people who constantly drain you, who bring chaos, gossip, or judgment, they keep you stuck in your past. The ones who challenge you to grow, who speak life into you, who remind you of what's possible, they help you step into your future. It's not about cutting people off in anger. It's about protecting your peace and love. You owe it to yourself to create an environment that matches your healing. Healing energy doesn't always come from people. Sometimes it comes from places, habits, and practices. Nature, silence, prayer, music, movement, all of these can shift your vibration. The energy of gratitude, compassion, and forgiveness transforms you from within. Every time you choose calm over chaos, growth over gossip, faith over fear, you raise your vibration. You become a magnet for peace instead of pain. The energy you allow is the energy you become. That's why it's so important to choose intentionally. Many people underestimate the power of influence. If you spend enough time around negative people, you'll start thinking negative thoughts. If you surround yourself with hopeful, driven, loving people, their energy will start to lift you higher. It's impossible not to absorb the vibration of those around you. That's why healing often requires letting go of toxic connections, unsupportive friendships, or environments that no longer align with who you're becoming. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. You're not rejecting people. You're protecting your growth. Surrounding yourself with healing energy also means becoming that energy. Be the person who uplifts others, who listens with empathy, who encourages with truth. The more love you give, the more love flows back to you. The more light you share, the brighter your own path becomes. Healing is not a one-way process. It's a cycle of giving and receiving positive energy. When you choose to embody peace, you attract peace. When you choose to embody strength, you attract strong souls. Remember, you become like the energy you keep. If you spend your time with dreamers, you'll dream more. If you surround yourself with healers, you'll heal faster. The people and environments in your life act like mirrors. They reflect back the energy you carry and amplify it. So choose your surroundings wisely. Choose conversations that elevate, friendships that empower, and spaces that inspire. Because healing isn't just about fixing what's broken inside you. It's about building a life that doesn't keep breaking you. Protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. The right energy will remind you of who you are when you forget. It will lift you when you fall and keep your spirit aligned with growth and gratitude. When you surround yourself with energy that heals, you stop surviving and start thriving. You become proof that peace is not found, it's created. There comes a moment when you've cried all the tears you can cry, when you've replayed every mistake, every loss, every heartbreak, and there's nothing left to analyze or explain. You're just tired of feeling broken, tired of holding on to pain. And in that quiet exhaustion, something begins to shift. You realize that you have two choices: stay down or rise again. That's the defining moment when you decide that your story isn't over yet. Because no matter how dark things have been, there's always a spark inside you waiting to reignite. You might have been knocked down, but you are not defeated. You might have been wounded, but you are not destroyed. You're still here, and that means there's still purpose in your life. Rising again doesn't happen all at once. It's not a grand cinematic moment of victory. It's a process, small steps, quiet decisions, everyday acts of courage. It's choosing to get out of bed when your heart feels heavy. It's daring to hope again after disappointment. It's forgiving yourself for not being perfect. Each of those choices is a spark, and together they create the fire that brings you back to life. Rising again means rebuilding from the inside out, starting with belief, then with action, and finally with vision. You can't control what broke you, but you can control how you rebuild. The truth is, the world will never stop testing you. There will always be challenges, setbacks, moments that shake your faith. But every time you rise, you come back stronger. Every fall teaches you something that makes your next rise more powerful. The strength you gain through pain becomes your foundation. You stop fearing the storm because you've already learned how to stand in the rain. The most powerful version of you doesn't emerge when everything is easy. It's born in the fire of resilience. You see, rising again isn't about going back to who you were before you broke. It's about becoming someone new, wiser, deeper, more compassionate. You're not supposed to return to the old version of yourself. You're supposed to evolve. The pain was there to strip away what wasn't real, to reveal the strength that always was. You can't rewrite the past, but you can choose how it defines you. Either it becomes your anchor holding you down, or your platform lifting you higher. The decision is yours. When you rise, you send a message, not just to the world, but to yourself. You tell that inner voice of doubt, you don't control me anymore. You tell your fears, you don't get to write my story. You tell life, you can hit me, but I will not quit. That's the spirit of resilience, not the absence of pain, but the refusal to be ruled by it. Rising again is an act of rebellion against hopelessness. It's choosing to love again, to dream again, to believe again, even when it feels impossible. And here's the most beautiful part. Every time you rise, you inspire someone else to do the same. Your comeback gives others permission to believe in theirs. Someone out there is watching you, needing proof that it's possible to heal, to rebuild, to start again. When you rise, you become that proof. You turn your survival into someone else's roadmap to strength. That's how your pain transforms into purpose, by helping others find light through your example. So no matter where you are right now, whether you're crawling out of the wreckage or still standing in the ruins, know this: your story is not over. The fact that you're still breathing means life isn't done with you yet. You've got more chapters to write, more love to give, more victories to claim. Rise not because it's easy, but because you can. Rise because your future self is waiting on the other side of this pain. Rise because your story matters. You are not broken. You are rebuilding. And one day when you look back, you'll realize the fall wasn't your ending. It was the beginning of the greatest comeback of your life.